So guys, today I wanted to do the counter video of a video that I did like 2 days ago, talking about top 5 jets that you should stay away from grinding in 2025. So 5 aircraft that are not really that good, and you might be thinking, oh, it's great, but at the end of the day, it's not worth it. And just a small disclaimer before we get into it, just remember guys, I'm not saying that these aircraft are per se bad. You know, they're not really just like bad aircraft. They can be very good. In the right hands, they can do aces. They can be a great aircraft. It's not like that. It's more like it's not really worth to grind these aircraft because there are better things coming. There are better things in the tech trees that they are. Overall, I will give the reasons, but just don't think that, oh, it's 5 bad aircraft. It's not 5 bad aircraft, and you will get the idea on the first one that we're going to talk about, right? Because it's a great aircraft, but it's just not worth it normally to get it unless it's in one tech tree. But let's get going. Before we get to the 5, I need to talk about an honorable mention, the J35D. The Draken D is a problematic aircraft. I see a lot of people having troubles with it. Doesn't have flares, a semi-high BR with it. And yeah, the performance is, you know, it's good, but it's not great. So it's an aircraft that kind of becomes difficult to play with. So at the end of the day, I really honestly think that you should get something else to grind this part of the tech tree. Maybe a Mig29, something like that. But the J35D can be good, but it is a difficult aircraft to fly from time to time, okay? But let's get going. So in 5th position, like I said, bear in mind what I said before on the disclaimer. The Gripen. Yes, the Gripen, I think it's not really worth to actually get right now, unless it is in the Swedish tech tree, because obviously it is the main aircraft that they have. But in every single other tech tree that this aircraft is, there are better options out there. And why is that? Because of that beloved, or rather hated nerf that this aircraft received a very long time ago. Before even we got the Fox 3s, the Gripen received a nerf that made the aircraft be significantly worse than what it was, right? So it's an aircraft that has a very bad thrust to weight. Most of the time you will be in the low or the high, like 0.9s or something like that in the thrust to weight. So it's very low thrust to weight compared to some of the other aircraft. The turning capability is pretty good, but then you have just a normal radar. It's nothing too fancy, and it is carrying only 6 missiles. So normally I would say that apart from the Swedish tech tree, what I'm saying is on the Italian tech tree, for example, it's not really worth to get it. On the Japanese tech tree, it's not really worth to get it. On the British tech tree, I mean, you have to get it to get the Typhoon, but apart from that, it's not worth to fly it, right? In my honest opinion, it's an aircraft that you should just wait for the E variant, or maybe they will roll back the nerf, or I don't know. It's just an aircraft that, yes, it has a lot of performance, it can do well, but compared to some of the counterparts that it faces, it is just not really that worth to grind, okay? It's not a bad aircraft, don't get me wrong, but it's normally a harder aircraft to fly than some of the others that you have the option to fly in, apart from in the Swedish tech tree. That is just more worth it, okay? In 4th position, it's another aircraft that it's not that bad. It's 2 aircraft actually, but it's not that bad, but it's missing something and it's facing some very advanced aircraft, and that's the Tomcats. The Tomcats today, especially because there is the F-15E, the F-16C, even the F-15C MSIP, it's just not worth to get it. The F-14A has a BR that it faces all the time higher tiers with Fox 3s and IRCCM AIM-9s and you know, stuff like that, and it doesn't even have an all-aspect AIM-9. And the B variant doesn't have the AIM-9M, right? Even though it's facing in the same BR, F-15s that have it, Su-27s that have it, Mig29s that have those missiles. right? So both these aircraft, they're not really that bad, but right now they are kind of difficult to fly and they don't lead to anybody, right? I honestly think that this will change very soon. We'll probably see the Hornet being added, but while we wait for that, it's not really worth to get the F-14s. Unless you are waiting for the Hornet, go get the F-15E. It's much, much better in that factory, right? So it is just an aircraft both aircraft that are not really worth right now, although they're all right to fly. They have these difficulties, which is just not really worth to give time to it, okay? In third position, we have an aircraft that also got a nerf. You will see a lot of these in this list. The F-104G. The F-104G is an aircraft that it is just kind of problematic right now. In a general sense, all F-104s, right? But in a general sense, the G variant, I think it's one of the worst ones because after the nerf that this aircraft received, it became even more of a brick. It was already kind of a brick, and I'm not saying that the nerf shouldn't have happened. If it's realistic and stuff, you know, it needs to happen, but it is more of a challenge aircraft right now than worth, you know, aircraft to grind. You know, there are better options out there for the average player to get that it's just going to be more fun to play. So I'm talking about, obviously, even the J variant of the Japanese, but in general, all the G variants, they're just not really worth it, right? They have a very high BR, although they have countermeasures. You don't have great missiles. AIM-9Js, they're all right, but they're not great. And you only have the option of getting kills on targets that are not really paying attention because you don't have the maneuverability to accompany basically a target that it's trying to move around and make you miss. So it's a very difficult aircraft to fly right now. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it, okay? And then we go for the top two. The second place, we have to talk about the Mig29M, an aircraft that I talked about in a previous video, not that while back, like 2 days ago, but it is an aircraft that I need to talk about. It's, again, it received a nerf, and it's a realistic nerf. It makes sense that this nerf happened, but after that nerf, the aircraft just became even more useless, you know. From the beginning, this aircraft was already something that it was hard to fly. I didn't see a lot of people getting too many kills with it, although we could do very well back in the day. I have like, it's the second aircraft that I have the most kills in realistic battles. So yeah, I love this thing. But the thing is, the R-23s are not great. The R-60Ms, they can get kills, but I mean, they're very easily flareable. It's not a problem that it's fixable. I'm not like, for any of these aircraft, most of them, apart from the F-14s, none of these aircraft can be fixed properly, right? It's just something that like, it's a problem for the aircraft itself, and that's it, right? So the Raider is not the greatest thing ever. The performance it was alright, already kind of not that great. And now it's even worse after the nerf. So it's an aircraft that it's not for everybody. It's really niche down, and it's just not worth to get for the average player. Okay, it really isn't a very easy aircraft to fly. Okay, and then in first position, I have to talk about my beloved Mig29 SMT. The SMT, guys, is the top of the line Mig29 that we have, or the last MiG that you can have. And it's an aircraft that basically has, you know, a major problem with its maneuverability. It's already, I mean, the original Mig29s are already kind of not pulling the amount of AOA that they should pull in realistic battles with mouse aim. So at the end of the day, this thing is even heavier feeling, you know. So although it has the Zook radar, which is a pretty good radar, it has the R-77s, which in short ranges can be a great missile. The R-27s are always great. The R-73s are always great. You only carry 6 missiles, so, you know, there is that. But the main thing is the flight performance of this thing. It's really not worth it. For the average player, it's just, I mean, there's not even a comparison between the Su-27 SM, especially after the buff that the Su-27 received with the engine and maneuverability. There's literally no reason to get the SMT. Like, it's kind of sad to say this. This is my favorite aircraft of all time, the MiG-29. I love the thing, but it is just not worth it. The Su-27 SM is much better. We will need to wait to see maybe the MiG-35 or something like that to actually be able to be worth to actually get the aircraft. So it is a hard aircraft to fly. It can be flown in a great manner. All of these aircraft, they can do well. I'm not saying that they are completely trash. It's just that it's not worth to get it because there are better options out there in the tech tree. So you gotta just think about that, like that basically, right? Let me know in the comments what is your top 5 list of aircraft that you should stay away from, especially jets. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye guys. See you.